Welcome to Story Chats and Inspy Romance. I'm Elizabeth Madry, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Narelle Atkins.
And I'm Valerie Comer.
Today, we are talking about CCR that is set in Washington State and Oregon. I think we probably could have done a whole episode on Washington State and a whole episode on Oregon.
Absolutely could have. Probably could
Yes.
have.
No,
yes.
There's no should have.
But well, you opened the door for that.
I did. You're right. But it is a popular setting for CCR. It seems like it's one of the two of the big ones. So we have a tiny sliver of recommendations for the book set here, but there are multitudinous out there to choose from. So yeah. Valerie, you want to go first?
Well, both of those areas scream ocean at me, and you guys all know that I love my beach reads. Yeah. So I could probably name, I don't know, 6 series just kind of off the top of my head that take place at the beach.
Yeah.
Let alone the rest of the state in either case, which is large and has many books also. So the first one I'd like to mention, though, is Finding Love in Friday Harbor, Washington, by Annette M. Irby. And I may, have I mentioned this before, Narelle?
Yes, but I don't know the episode numbers.
You have, but I have too, because if you recall, I'm the one that recommended these books to you. I'm just saying.
Did you really?
I did.
Well, thank you. I wish she wrote more.
I know, me too.
This is an older book, but it just like was the first one I thought of. Washington Coast, Annette M. Irby. Takes place on San Juan Island. It's a second chance romance between Michaela and Hunter. Michaela left the island like 12 years ago, so it's a long time. It's and she became a biology professor, and Hunter remained to run his family's whale watching tour company. So I love whale watching. So I'm like, yes, take me on your boat, Hunter. And I did, and he did, and it was great, like fictionally. Upon hearing his company was in financial trouble, Michaela came up with a research project and got it funded. So now she's back on the island for the summer with students in tow, ready to pour some money into the coffers of Hunter's family's business, because she really likes Hunter's mom and she kind of still likes Hunter. And it's a legitimate way to help them out. But to do that, she has to spend the summer with Hunter. Yep. Tragically, on his whale watching boat. What's not to love? It's an amazing story.
It is. The whole series is good.
The whole series is good.
And they're all right there in those islands.
Yes.
There's one on Whidbey Island and
one on Bainbridge.
Bainbridge, yeah.
Yep.
That was one of mine.
Sorry, not sorry. You told me to go first.
Yeah. All right, Narelle, what's your first one?
So if we're staying in Washington, I think we might go inland to Trinity Lakes. So I'm not going to talk about a specific book. I'm just going to talk about the series. So it's set in a fictional town in eastern Washington state. There are 3 lakes, hence the name Trinity Lakes, although one lake is really a pond in a golf course, so it kind of doesn't count. But anyway, that's okay. All good golf courses have a lake to torment the people playing. Yes, they've got to have a pond or a lake just to be, yes, golfers. If you're a golfer, you'll understand the concept of water not being necessarily fun if you're having a bad day. Yes, and so it's a multi-author series. 7, excuse me. I have a chest infection, so if I start coughing, I apologize. It's a multi-author series. There are 7 books that have released in 2023. My book was the first one, Never Find Another You. And it's also set near the mountains. There's also farming and ranch country around. So there's a whole lot of different settings that the authors go into as well. And there's also a lot of Aussies and Kiwis in this small town. And I know there's been a bit of chatter about why there are all these Aussies and a Kiwi in this town. And a Kiwi is a person from New Zealand, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. And there's some historical facts as to go around why there are pockets of Australians in different parts of the states, including the Pacific Northwest. And it goes back to things like war brides in the Second World War. So I've got a friend, Jennifer Miss Morgan, who's writes World War II historical romance, and she's recently had a short story published with a US Marine meeting an Aussie girl in Sydney, and that's based on when the Marines would come to town. So Aussie girls are not immune to Marines and American military men in any way, shape, or form, and so there are patterns of migration that do bring Australians and New Zealanders to the States because we fall in love with the men that live there. So if you're wondering, and there will be some books further on in the Trinity Lake series that go back into a bit of the fictional history of the town, which does have some factual basis in real life as well. So, and also my husband's uncle, he went to America in the 1960s, met his wife, an American, in a church in Hollywood, and then settled in Oregon. So there you go. So we have some family history with this happening as well. But it's a very fun series. They all do stand alone, but I would recommend reading in order if you can, because there is through some of the books.
I know.
I will say it again. I would. Yes, I would recommend reading the Trinity Lake romances in order if you can.
Oh my goodness.
And the reason being that there are different connections between different books, and there is a series mystery thread that goes through some of the books, and you'll get a richer experience by actually seeing how that plays out in the story as well. So, and they are some fun interconnections. Yeah. Well, it's, you know how some multi-author series are like, they're set in a place or there's a theme and that's what joins them together. Trinity Lakes in the first year is quite interconnected. I'm not quite sure what's happening so much in the second year, but definitely in the first year, there's quite a lot of cameos and different characters in different places as well. Cool. So we have an inland one. I've actually got one inland for Washington. So there you go.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So mine is actually also inland. I can go with this one first. Angel Kisses and Riversong by Brynn Stewart, who is aka Lynette Bonner. I don't think she hides that it's a pen name because it was originally published under her name, Lynette Bonner. But she separated her historicals and contemporaries with different names a little while ago. But Jet is a professional football player with a potentially career-ending injury. And so he goes to Salem in Washington not to Salem, Salem's the girl, to inside Washington, where Salem is running a bed and breakfast. He's going to hide out and recover and figure out what he's doing. Whereas she is hoping that having this famous and long-term guest is going to finally allow her to have the money to fix up the place and maybe actually make a go of the B&B in the first place. It's really fun. I love Lynette's contemporary books. I wish she wrote more of them. And this series has 3, I believe it's a trilogy. And they're all just delightful little Washington town in the mountainy, foresty kind of aspect. Enjoyable.
Well, I picked Brynn Stewart as well, but I picked her series, and I thought about this one. I was like, yeah. And the one you mentioned, the Riversong series, is newer.
Yeah.
I just really love her first series set on the coast.
On the beach, yeah.
And the first one of that is called Beyond the Waves. It's her Pacific Shores series, I believe.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I read this one as well. Tasia owns a gym, and she is being threatened with a lawsuit by a wannabe model who slipped and twisted her ankle in the parking lot. So the new police officer in town, Kylan, offers mediation, which requires him getting together with Tasia a few times. However, he's also her ex, and she really doesn't want to work with him. And besides that, she's dating the new youth pastor, so she really doesn't want to get involved with Kylan again, except maybe she does. He's bent on restoration, and she gets there too. Oh, spoiler. Sorry about that.
It's a great, I love that one. We've talked about that one in a couple episodes, I feel like. I know I've mentioned it in one. Yeah.
Four books in that series, I think. And like you, I wish she wrote more contemporary.
Yes.
And now when I tell her that, she's just like, blah, 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 blah. Because she's doing pretty well with her historicals and feels like it's easier. And I'm sure it is easier to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
fair. It's fair.
Fair, but rough on those of us who love those.
Yeah. Narelle, do you have another one?
I do, and you'll have this one as well. So we can't talk about Washington State unless we talk about Valerie Comer's urban farm fresh romances. So we're in suburban Spokane, and I love this setting. I mean, I think it reminds me of when I first moved to Canberra, which is, I think we've got 450,000 people here now. But when I first moved here, it was more around the 350,000. And I was living in a newer area that was smaller. And you do get those pockets of community. And what I love about this series is that pocket of community where you've got this, it's based around an Italian family, but there's obviously other people and the pop up in the series, but that strong sense of community in the city that does exist. And we have a farmers market in Canberra, and you've got the fresh food focus in the Urban Farm Fresh series. And I love that. And there's just so much to love about this book, and it addresses quite contemporary issues. Valerie doesn't hide from talking about some issues that are quite tricky as well in this series. And I can't even pick a favorite. I thought, how you love a series, you just can't pick a favorite. This is one of those series as well. And I've had pretty much read it in order. I think I missed one. I worked out maybe, but I've got to go back and check. But I've been pretty good. There we go. Secrets of Sunbeams. We even have it on. Yes, is the first one. So Beth, you might want to add to my fangirling of the Urban Farm Fresh romance.
I actually didn't have that one on my list because I knew that you probably would.
And sometimes this backfires on us, people.
Yeah, well, it's true.
The others are going to mention it, and then nobody does.
That's right. But I do love that series. I'm trying to think. I probably could come up with a favorite. But I'm not going to remember the title of it. Maybe Valerie can when I tell her which one it is. Do you remember your characters? I really like the one. It's later in the series where the girl comes to take care of Nana, and
Lavished with Lavender.
That one. Yeah. Lavished with Lavender. I think that one is possibly my favorite, or the one that I think is maybe right after that, with Winnie getting her second chance with the coffee bean roaster. Yeah. I like both of those quite a lot.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun. There's 12 in that series. Just a lot. It felt like a lot towards the end. I'm like, but I still have this story to write and that story.
See, and I say that, but then I start thinking of the other ones, and I'm like, well, but what about, so, maybe not. Okay, I can't actually choose a favorite. They're all really good. They're all really
one of my favorites might be Dancing at Daybreak.
And that was, that's a fantastic one.
It's about a girl who's running hard.
Yeah.
From God.
That one, I think, probably has the absolute strongest redemption arc.
Because Dixie's running so far the other way. Yeah. A lot of the parables in it. My mind is blank.
Yeah.
And then we have characters that go to other series as well. So if you come across characters in Urban Farm Fresh romance you like.
That's frequent with Valerie. Valerie loves to, and I mean, I do it too, but Valerie's really good at tying everybody together. They're all, you see them again.
Oh, one big happy family.
That's right. That's right. All right. So my next one is Island Refuge by Kimberly Rose Johnson. And she actually has several set in Washington State. And I almost did the one, but I couldn't come up with its title, is why I didn't. So I'm going to tell you what it is, but I still can't come up with the title. So it's not going to help you any. But it's like a billionaire. He's like a secret billionaire, and he does stuff for troubled youth, but he sort of hides his money.
Oh,
it's like the Brides of Seattle series, I think maybe is what it's called.
I believe that is correct. Yeah.
And that, I love that series too.
The
but
marriage of convenience story.
I dug around for that and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, fine, I really like her Island Refuge series too. So we're gonna go with that one.
Let me just do a little Google food.
Valerie's gonna Google while I talk.
Yes.
So the Wildflower Bed and Breakfast series, the first book is Island Refuge, is set in Puget Sound. And Zoe is a 5-star chef hiding out as a cook and maid for this rundown bed and breakfast. And she's klutzy and nervous. So the owner is super unsure about her because he's trying to, bring this place back to life. And he just does not need this klutzy weirdo be really involved in anything. It's got heart and humor. And it just sets up the series really well. It has faith. I would say it's a little lighter on the faith than some of her other books, but it's still there. And it's just a delightful series. Oh, yeah, that's the one. The Reluctant.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah. This is the other one, not the one you're talking about, but the one you wanted to talk about. The Reluctant Rose Johnson.
Yeah.
It's a good series.
It is a good series.
And so I love the because Island.
Yes.
I love that one too. Give me the islands. Give me them all.
Yep.
I want them.
You got another one, Valerie?
I'm sure. Can I move to Oregon now?
Yes, please. Yes. Please move to Oregon.
However, I'm still going to be at the beach.
Okay.
Sandpiper Cove by Irene Hannon. I've mentioned a few times. I might have mentioned this one as well. Her Hope Harbor series is like, I don't know, 9 or 10 books. And I'm very slowly poking through them in audio. I just decided they were going to be my next few audio listens. And I finished Sandpiper Cove a month ago. I don't know, relatively recently. So a female police officer and single mom, Lexi Graham, is back living with her mother to help with her young son, who I don't think is 5, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. Pretty young.
No.
When a rash of petty theft and vandalism hits Hope Harbor, Lexi meets ex-con Adam Stone, the first man to catch her eye in eons. But a cop can't date an ex-con, can she? Even though the guy has obviously changed, and Lexi's son adores him and his dog, and her mother is pushing them together. So I know Irene Hannon is a reader favorite. She does a lot of romantic suspense, but she does a lot of straight CCR as well. And Hope Harbor is probably her best known series.
I love that series, and I knew you'd talk about it, so I didn't have to put it on my list.
I almost didn't. It was number 3.
Excellent.
Oh.
Do you have another one, Narelle?
I do. So I'll go to Oregon and we'll stay at the beach in Oregon and talk about the Chapel Cove romance series. So this one is a multi-author series set, I think, it's probably about 90 minutes, 2 hours out of Portland. So I think we're in the northern Oregon coastal type area,
probably
the seaside, Cannon Beach.
Same place as Hope Harbor is, almost possibly identically.
Yeah. That love. And I've been there. And I've been there in person. I've actually visited that area. So it's always fun for the Aussie to read something in America that she actually has seen. And so this was a series originally set up with Marion Newcomen, Autumn MacArthur, and Alexa Verde. And the first 3 books are focused around 3 friends who were had their 40th birthday. So it was pretty much focused on mature romance, 40 plus, second chances and all that kind of thing. And then the series is extended out. Sadly, Marion's no longer with us to write books, which is very, very sad. But Rose, I can never say Rose's last name, Rose Fresquez, I can never get it right. Yeah, she is has written some books. And when this episode airs, I'll be back finally writing the book I got blocked on, the writer's block, in Chapel Cove. And that's the next book I plan to get out, is that Chapel Cove story, finally, which has taken a long time. It's been a bit of a journey, but anyway. But I just love this series. It's got all the those lovely sort of coastal small town things that I just adore. It's got the cafe, it's got the quirky characters, it's got the beach, but it's different beach to what I'm used to. It's cold beach is what I call it. And I always get reminded of when I was at think it was Lincoln City at the beach, and I'd heard about these sneaker waves and that will just come up and out of nowhere. And I tell you what, I learned how to run that day. When I saw this wave, and my daughter's like, Mum, you never run. I said, yeah, but there are times when you need to run. And this was one of those times. Yeah, so it brings back all those sort of happy memories I have from having visited Oregon a couple of times as well. So I really love this series, and Honor Me will come out soon.
Yay. Yay.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's right.
Yes.
Excellent. So I only have one in Oregon, and it is Kimberly Rose Johnson again. It is A Love to Treasure, her Sun River, Oregon series.
Those are great stories too.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah.
These are, it has been a really long time since I've read this one. I just remembered reading it. Is it on the beach? It is, right? No, is it not near the beach?
The Sun River are further inland.
Okay.
Probably
the river.
They're over the first set of mountains.
Okay. All right.
Five.
It's been a long time, but I remember really loving it.
I remember looking it up on the map.
Okay.
Nice. Like, where is this place?
Nicole ends up on a scavenger hunt at her late grandmother's request. And there's a police officer from Portland who's there on vacation, and he ends up helping. And it has some mystery suspense, and I believe Kimberly is now mostly writing. I think she terms it romantic mystery, more focused on mystery than romance. But
which
so this might have been like,
she no longer blogs with us at Inspy Romance, because she switched genres on us.
Yeah, this was it's light. If you don't, it's not scary. It's certainly not thriller or anything. It's just,
says for me,
right? Yeah. It just is a sort of additional plot line to throw in and keep things, why they're together and why they're working together. But I just remember really enjoying this series, but it is an older one. And I don't have a lot more details to offer because I did not reread it. I just remembered enjoying it.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I can't add a lot of detail for the same reason I read it, I'm sure, when it first came out, and loved it.
Me too. Yeah.
Soaked up all the Sun River, but sadly that was not last week.
No. And I want to say it's at least 6 years old. Probably at least. Yeah. Do you have more?
I'm done.
I do.
Oh,
I have more. Oh wow, this is very unusual. That I just wanted to mention, because we haven't been into the city. So I just wanted to mention Husband Auditions by Angela Ruth Strong. Oh, yeah. And the reason I'm mentioning this one is it showcases Portland, and I have visited Portland, and basically Kai is filming Mary as they're reenacting the 1950s magazine article of How to Catch a Man and filming it for a YouTube channel. And so we get to see all these snippets of the city, which I think is super fun. Now I've got my episode numbers for you. So I first talked about this book in episode 72, which was a recent reads episode. And in episode 121, which is a very recent episode, with rom-coms, when Krista Phillips visited, I mentioned this one. And then we had Angela visit us last month and talk about Hero Debut, which is the second book in the series. And I had no idea this wasn't originally planned to be a series. So had it not become a series, I think I would have cried, because I really wanted to see the other characters. And so Kai and Charlie and Gemma are friends that sort of live in this, share a townhouse or a house in Portland. The first story is Kai's story, and he's a filmmaker. And the second one is Gemma, and she goes to the police and firefighter academy to do research. And lots and lots of fun. But I just love the first book, Husband Auditions, because it showcases Portland. So I had to have that in the Oregon episode.
Absolutely.
It's a really good point on that.
Yeah. Excellent.
I affirm the choice.
We were heavy on the Washington side, but we got Oregon in there. So let us know your favorite Washington and Oregon books. What we miss? Have you read any of these and enjoyed them? Hopefully some of these older ones will give you a nudge in that direction, because books are still delicious even when they're old. So the
benefit then is you can read the whole series in one binge, right? Because they're all out.
they're bingeable. So you can let us know your thoughts in a comment on YouTube or the Facebook page. And if you want to find information about the podcast, you can go to inspyromance.com/storychats. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that notification bell and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we will see you next week. In the meantime, don't forget to fall in love with a good book. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.